Have you ever stopped to wonder what separates people who simply grow old from those who continue to thrive well into their 70s, 80s, and even beyond 100 years? The truth may surprise you. If you are past 70 and still holding on to just 5 simple daily habits, experts believe you are giving yourself one of the strongest chances of reaching the century mark with energy and clarity. Here is the sobering reality: most seniors begin to let these habits fade away. Without even realizing it, they are quietly cutting precious years from their lives. In fact, a remarkable 20-year study from Harvard revealed that abandoning these behaviors can shorten life expectancy by more than a decade. On the other hand, staying consistent with them could add decades filled with vitality, sharper memory, and a deeper sense of purpose. That is why I encourage you to stay with me until the end of this video. Together, we will uncover the 5 powerful practices that the longest living people share, along with practical ways you can begin today to strengthen both your body and your mind. Before we dive in, please give this video a like so others can find it. If you have not already, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And to keep it simple, leave a comment below, type the number 1 if you enjoy this video, or type 0 if you feel it could be better. Now, let's begin. 1. Lifelong learning. One of the most powerful traits that people who live past 100 share is their devotion to learning new things, even well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond. This is not about sticking to familiar hobbies or simply reading the newspaper. It is about embracing something unfamiliar, stretching the mind in ways that keep it strong and resilient. Take the story of Eleanor, a 75-year-old retired librarian. Her journey began when her granddaughter showed her a simple photography app. Curious, she decided to learn digital photography despite barely knowing how to use a computer. Some of her friends laughed, asking why she would bother at her age. But Eleanor set aside 20 minutes each morning to practice. 2 years later, she had mastered editing software and created a family photo album that everyone treasures. Her doctor soon noticed improvements in her memory, reaction time, and overall alertness. This was not just a sweet story. It was a living example of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections at any age. Think of your brain as a busy city. Every new skill you learn is like adding new highways that keep traffic flowing and prevent age-related roadblocks. Scientific studies confirm this. Dr. Michael Mazinik at the University of California found that older adults who take up new learning tasks show brain activity patterns similar to people 20 or 30 years younger. The subject does not need to be complicated. What matters is novelty and steady challenge. Practical ideas include learning an instrument, trying a new craft, studying a foreign language, or exploring technology. The secret is to begin small, stay consistent, find a community, and celebrate progress. At 70 or beyond, you already have the patience and discipline to succeed. So, what is one new skill you would love to try? Share it in the comments and inspire others to start their own learning journey. 2. Strong social connections. Another defining characteristic of people who live well into their hundreds is their commitment to nurturing deep and meaningful relationships. These bonds go far beyond casual interactions. They provide emotional strength, shared memories, and a true sense of belonging. Consider Harold, a 79-year-old widower who struggled deeply after his wife of 5 decades passed away. For months, he avoided social contact, relied on delivery services, and spent long days alone. His children noticed troubling signs. He became forgetful, uninterested in hobbies, and seemed to age at a rapid pace. Everything changed when Harold reluctantly joined a local walking group, hoping only to get some fresh air. That small decision grew into something life-changing. Within the group, he met Margaret, a 74-year-old retired nurse, and James, an 81-year-old veteran. What began as short walks turned into lasting friendships. They began meeting several times a week, sharing meals, and supporting one another through life's ups and downs. After 6 months, Harold's energy returned, his memory sharpened, and his laughter filled the room again. Science confirms what Harold's story shows us. The Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest studies ever conducted, found that strong social ties are the single greatest predictor of happiness and longevity. People with close connections live about 7 years longer than those who remain isolated. On the other hand, loneliness damages health as severely as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, raising stress hormones, weakening immunity, and speeding up aging. The lesson is clear: you don't need a huge circle, but a few high-quality friendships can transform your later years. So ask yourself, what is one step you could take this week to reconnect or form a new bond? Share your answer in the comments, and if you are still watching, type the number 1 below to let me know you are here with me. 3. Natural movement. The third powerful habit shared by people who reach 100 years old is not punishing gym sessions or endless marathons. Instead, it is about weaving natural movement seamlessly into daily life. Many assume physical activity only counts if it is structured exercise. But centenarians show us a more sustainable and joyful approach. Take the example of Walter. An 82-year-old grandfather, Walter has never owned a treadmill or followed a workout plan. Yet his vitality puts younger people to shame. His secret lies in small, consistent movements throughout the day. He grows vegetables in his backyard, walks to the market instead of driving, chooses stairs over elevator, and still enjoys playing on the floor with his grandchildren. Not long ago, he even helped a neighbor carry heavy boxes. Something remarkable for his age. This lifestyle mirrors what researchers observe in the world's blue zones. In Sardinia, older adults walk steep hills while tending sheep. In Okinawa, gardening and Tai Chi are daily rituals. In Nicoya, many continue doing physical work well into their 90s. For them, movement is not separate from life, it is life itself. The advantages of natural movement are profound. It keeps metabolism active, strengthens joints, and builds functional strength that translates to real-world tasks. Studies from the National Institute on Aging confirm that those who remain naturally active enjoy better balance, stronger bones, healthier hearts, and sharper minds than peers who sit most of the day. You do not need to live in a rural village to benefit. Walk when running errands, take calls while standing, cook from scratch, clean your home, or dance while doing chores. Start small, build gradually, and let movement become part of who you are. What simple way could you add more natural movement into your routine? Share your thoughts in the comments to inspire others. 4. A strong sense of purpose. One of the most powerful habits that separates those who reach 100 years old from the rest is their unshakable sense of purpose. In Japan, there is a word for this ikigai, which translates to a reason to live or the thing that gets you out of bed each day. Purpose is not fixed. It evolves as life unfolds. In childhood, it may be tied to curiosity. In adulthood, it may be connected to career or raising a family. In later life, it often emerges through giving back, mentoring, or creating something meaningful. But no matter how it changes, the presence of purpose continues to act as a driving force. Without it, many older adults find themselves drifting into days that feel empty and unfulfilling. With it, each morning brings energy, resilience, and clarity. To illustrate this, let's consider the story of George, an 80-year-old retired carpenter from Ohio. For more than 4 decades, George's identity was wrapped up in his craft. He designed furniture, built homes, and took immense pride in his skill. But when he retired, he found himself adrift. His workshop sat quiet, and though his children and grandchildren loved visiting, he often felt invisible. He passed hours watching television reruns, slipping into habits of boredom, and noticing that his memory seemed slower, his motivation weaker. One afternoon, his neighbor mentioned that the local community center was starting a program to teach woodworking to teenagers. At first, George dismissed the idea. He thought, why would kids today care about old tools and handmade furniture? They have machines that do everything. But after some gentle persuasion, he decided to attend one session, mostly to appease his neighbor. That single step shifted the course of his later years. In the workshop, George met a group of 15 and 16-year-olds who were eager to learn. On the first day, one boy struggled to measure and cut a straight line. George guided him with patience, showing him how to feel the grain of the wood and mark carefully. The boy's face lit up when he finally succeeded. That small breakthrough awakened something in George. Suddenly, he wasn't just a retired man with fading energy, he was a teacher, a mentor, someone with valuable knowledge to pass on week after week. George found himself revitalized. The aches in his joints mattered less when he had a project to look forward to. His memory sharpened as he recalled old techniques to demonstrate. His laughter returned as he listened to the teenagers share their dreams. Over time, the students not only learned woodworking skills, but also began to confide in him, asking for advice about school, family, and life. George became more than a teacher. He became a trusted figure in their community. His children noticed he was more energetic, more focused, and more alive than he had been in years. This transformation isn't just anecdotal. It reflects what researchers have found again and again. Studies in regions known as blue zones, places where people live exceptionally long lives, reveal that purpose is a universal thread. In Okinawa, elders often serve as community storytellers or caretakers of gardens. In Sardinia, older men remain part of shepherding traditions, guiding younger generations. In Nicoya, Costa Rica, elders contribute by supporting family farms and mentoring children. These roles give them not only activity but also meaning. They are needed, valued, and engaged. Large-scale scientific studies echo the same lesson. The Rush Memory and Aging Project, which followed thousands of seniors over many years, found that individuals with a strong sense of purpose had dramatically lower rates of cognitive decline. Their likelihood of developing dementia was significantly reduced, and their brains showed greater resilience against age-related changes. Similarly, researchers at the University of Michigan tracked participants for decades and discovered that having a clear sense of purpose added an average of 7 extra years of life. Those with purpose did not just live longer, they also lived healthier, with reduced risks of stroke, heart disease, and even Alzheimer's. Purpose seemed to act as both a shield and a motivator, protecting the body while encouraging healthier daily behaviors. The underlying reason is clear. When you have a reason to get up every day, you stay more socially active, mentally engaged, and emotionally strong. These behaviors strengthen neural pathways in the brain, reduce stress, and enhance immune function. In other words, purpose is not just a pleasant idea, it is a biological force that influences health outcomes. George's story mirrors these findings. By stepping into a role where his skills were needed, he unlocked a renewed vitality, he regained confidence, found joy, and contributed something that made others' lives richer. His purpose shifted from building furniture to building people, and in doing so, he rebuilt himself. When many people hear the phrase, a strong sense of purpose, they imagine something enormous: starting a foundation, writing a best-selling book, or creating a legacy that touches millions. While these achievements are admirable, they are not what makes people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s thrive. The truth is, purpose does not have to be grand. It only needs to feel meaningful to you and connect you to something larger than yourself. Purpose can be found in small but powerful actions. It might be as simple as reading to a grandchild every night, tending to a community garden, or visiting a neighbor who lives alone. These acts create bonds, divert joy, and remind you that your presence matters. One 90-year-old woman from a blue zone village once said, "I am happy because the chickens depend on me to feed them every morning." To outsiders, caring for chickens may seem trivial, but to her, it was a reason to rise with energy and greet the day. That is purpose in its purest form, personal, grounded, and sustaining. Finding purpose is a deeply personal journey, but there are clear steps anyone can take to uncover or reignite it, no matter their age. Reflect on your core values. Take time to ask yourself what principles have guided your life. Is it kindness, creativity, justice, or family? If you value kindness, perhaps volunteer at a food bank. If creativity has always sparked joy, explore painting or writing. Journaling about moments when you felt most fulfilled can help reveal patterns pointing toward your purpose. Leverage your skills and life experience. Your decades of work and personal life are a treasure chest of wisdom. Maybe you are a nurse who can mentor younger healthcare workers, or a mechanic who can teach practical skills to teens. Sharing your knowledge not only benefits others, but also reminds you that your past continues to hold value today. Align with causes that ignite passion. Think about issues that stir your heart: environmental care, literacy, social justice, or animal welfare. Joining even a small local group working on these issues can infuse daily life with new energy. Passion and purpose often walk hand in hand. Build intergenerational connections. Many older adults underestimate how much younger people long for their guidance. Mentoring students, tutoring children, or simply sharing stories with teenagers can bring fresh vitality while giving younger generations the gift of perspective and wisdom. Volunteer strategically. Volunteering is most rewarding when it aligns with your strengths and interests. A natural organizer might help run community events, while someone who loves animals could support a local shelter. Try different roles until you find one that feels like more than a duty, something that feels like a calling. Explore creative expression. Purpose can also be found in art, music, or storytelling. These outlets allow you to express identity, connect with others, and leave something lasting. Sharing your creations, whether poems, quilts, or photographs, turns personal joy into collective inspiration. Strengthen family ties. Family often provides a natural sense of purpose. Being the keeper of family traditions, preserving old stories, or supporting grandchildren's goals can be profoundly meaningful. Even if loved ones live far away, writing letters, sending recordings, or scheduling regular calls keeps those bonds alive. Pursue personal growth. Purpose can come from challenging yourself, learning a new language, starting yoga, or mastering a new recipe can instill pride and demonstrate resilience. Growth, no matter how small, signals to yourself and others that life is still expanding, not contracting. The essential truth is that purpose frequently emerges through action, rather than waiting for sudden inspiration. You do not need to wait for the perfect moment or a lightning bolt of clarity. Start small, experiment, and pay attention to what fills you with energy instead of draining it. That is where purpose lives. As we age, life inevitably presents challenges, illness, the loss of loved ones, or reduced physical strength. Without purpose, these difficulties can feel like walls that trap us. With purpose, they become hurdles that can be overcome. Purpose changes how we interpret setbacks. A health diagnosis may feel devastating, but with purpose, it can be reframed as motivation to care for oneself. Stay connected. and continue contributing in new ways. Psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl famously wrote, "We can endure almost anything if we have a why to live for." His words resonate even more strongly in later life. Purpose is not a luxury reserved for the young or the privileged. It is a universal human need, as vital as food and shelter, and the beautiful reality is that it can be renewed at any age. So take a moment to ask yourself, what gives my life meaning right now? If you are uncertain, what small activity or cause might you want to explore that could bring more purpose into your days? Share your reflections in the comments. Your story may be exactly what someone else needs to hear to rediscover their own sense of purpose. 5. Optimism and gratitude. The fifth habit shared by many people who live beyond 100 years is both simple and powerful: cultivating optimism and practicing gratitude. This does not mean pretending that hardships do not exist or forcing yourself into blind positivity. Instead, it means acknowledging life's struggles while deliberately choosing to focus on what is good, what still remains, and what brings joy. This perspective builds resilience and gives older adults the strength to keep moving forward even in the face of pain or loss. Take the story of Margaret, an 85-year-old retired librarian. Margaret has faced her share of difficulties. She lost her husband to illness, survived a serious fall that left her with arthritis, and now lives alone in her small apartment. Yet, those who know her describe her as radiant and uplifting. Neighbors say she is the first to greet them with a smile, often sharing a lighthearted story that eases their day. Margaret's secret lies in her morning ritual. Each day, she sits by her kitchen window with a notebook and writes down 3 things she is thankful for. Yesterday, she listed the cheerful laughter of children playing outside, the warmth of her teacup in her hands, and the simple fact that her mind is still sharp enough to enjoy a crossword puzzle. These are not grand events, but small blessings that remind her life still holds beauty. When asked how she manages to stay so positive, Margaret explains, "I can focus on what I've lost, or I can celebrate what I still have. Both are true, but only one gives me the energy to live fully." Her approach is not only inspiring, it is also strongly supported by research. The Harvard study of adult development, which has followed participants for more than 80 years, discovered that optimism is linked to longer life, strong immunity, and healthier hearts. Optimistic individuals lived up to 15% longer than their pessimistic peers. Psychologist Dr. Braun Suzanne Segerstrom from the University of Kentucky found that optimism is tied to longer telomeres, the protective ends of chromosomes that influence how cells age, essentially slowing the biological clock. Importantly, optimism is not something you are simply born with. It is a skill, one that can be practiced and strengthened at any stage of life. Gratitude works hand in hand with optimism. Dr. Robert Emmons, a leading researcher at UC Davis, found that people who regularly practice gratitude enjoyed better sleep, stronger relationships, and greater life satisfaction. The very act of noticing what is good rewires the brain to see more positives, creating a cycle that continually improves well-being. So how can you bring more optimism and gratitude into your life? Here are some simple strategies. Keep a gratitude journal. Write down 3 things daily. No matter how small, over time, your brain learns to notice joy in the ordinary. Reframe challenges. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" This transforms setbacks into opportunities. Focus on what you can control. You may not stop aging or illness, but you can choose how to respond, which restores hope. Celebrate small victories. Walking a little farther or calling a friend is worth acknowledging. Limit negative input. Too much distressing news can cloud perspective. Balance it with uplifting content. Surround yourself with positivity. Seek out friends or groups who lift your spirit. Practice kind self-talk. Replace harsh inner words with supportive ones, such as "I'm learning at my own pace." Remember your resilience. Reflect on times you overcame past struggles as proof of your strength. Optimism does not erase grief or difficulty, but it creates space for hope. Many centenarians even report that their happiest years came after 70, when they released societal pressures and focused on what truly matters: connection, meaning, and gratitude. So let me ask you, what is one thing you are genuinely grateful for today? And how do you keep hope alive during challenging times? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story may inspire someone else to find light in their own journey. The synergy of centenarian behaviors and final thoughts. Your outlook on life might be the spark that lifts someone else. The 5 habits: continuous learning, nurturing relationships, natural movement, living with purpose, and embracing optimism with gratitude, do not function alone. They intertwine like instruments in an orchestra, each enhancing the others. Picking up a new hobby can create friendships. A clear sense of purpose encourages you to stay active and hopeful. Gratitude strengthens connections and fuels the courage to face new challenges. Think about Clara, a 91-year-old former seamstress. At 84, she decided to learn how to use a tablet so she could exchange pictures and voice messages with her great-grandchildren. That small step kept her mind alert and her heart close to family. Twice a week, Clara joins neighbors at a community garden, walking there with her basket in hand rather than relying on a car. She also keeps a gratitude journal where she notes simple joys such as the scent of blooming flowers, a phone call from a friend, or the satisfaction of finishing a sewing project. Clara doesn't merely get by, she thrives. Her days radiate warmth and meaning, and those around her often say she seems younger than her years. By contrast, older adults who abandon these habits may slip into loneliness, inactivity, and a focus on decline. They continue to exist, but the spark of living fades. The choice is yours. You can see aging as a slow retreat, or as a chance to refine life down to what truly matters. These habits are not just about adding years, they are about adding vitality to those years. What step will you take today toward greater purpose and optimism? Share it in the comments. Your story could inspire another traveler on this path. That brings us to the end of today's journey. We've uncovered 5 powerful habits that can help you not only extend your years, but also enrich them with joy, connection, and purpose. Continuing to learn, staying naturally active, nurturing strong relationships, discovering purpose, and embracing optimism with gratitude. Together, these practices create a foundation for thriving well beyond 70, 80, or even 100. Now it's your turn. What lesson from this video spoke to you the most? Share one insight you're ready to put into practice in the comments below. And if this message inspired you, please give the video a like, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more uplifting wisdom.